Hey, everybody, and welcome to Maximum Libertarian. I am Brian.
I'm Dean.
And if you haven't already, please go to click that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and then what should they do, Dean?
Smash that like button. Smash it and make sure you share this.
Yeah, there you go. Like this video, share the video. That helps us out. Even make a comment if you don't mind. If you agree or disagree with anything we're saying, it helps us out greatly. And as you can see going across, please follow us on Twitter at WeAreMaxLib. I headed up here. This first thing that we're going to talk about today, let's get it pulled up and add to stream. There we go. The signature requirement to qualify for statewide primary reduced under new settlement. Basically, what this is saying is the Virginia Democrats, who are now in control of both the House, the Senate, and the governor here in the Commonwealth, have decided, since they're having a primary, taxpayer-funded primary, that they plan on having a that what they've done is they've did things to lower the numbers to get qualified, and then they also made some adjustments so it makes it easier to get qualified. Now, the problem that I have with it, one, is the pandemic's coming to an end pretty much, and you're seeing decline in numbers, you're seeing a lot of different things, but it's just for this taxpayer-funded program here. Do you have any comments, Dean?
Yeah, I don't know if you have the other thing that actually I have the Virginia Department of Elections thing to show you where it says for the House of Delegates also, but we'll go into this first. I believe everybody should have to collect the signatures, and if you're not going to have to collect the signatures, if they're going to do this and allow just the Democrats to have this, it's not right. Every party should have the same rights. You either one for all and all for one, or it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. Do I think they should have to collect? Yes, I think they should have to collect without any help. I think it could be done now. But at the same time, there's still people a little skittish about signing petitions. So, like I said, if it's good for the Democratic Party, it should be open to the Republican Party, the Libertarian Party, the Constitution Party, the Green Party, or any other party to get these signatures. And like I said, this is not statewide. This is also just for the Democrats when it comes to the House of Delegates, who give them the right just to allow to have electronic signatures and things like that. If you're running for House of Delegates, how unfair is that to the Libertarians, who have to every time have to collect the 125 signatures for House of Delegates? It isn't. I think we could have more. And the reason I'm going to say this, I think we could have more House of Delegate candidates if we had the ability to have that. I know it's corrupt. The whole thing's corrupt. I'd rather not have it. But if you're going to do it for one group, one party, you should do it for all parties. And at that point, would make it easier for all of us to get on the ballot and be able to fight the good fight as a libertarian against these corrupt politicians. Now, I put that in the perspective of this. I'm in a place where usually a Democrat don't run. Well, what happens if they allow the Democrat to run in my district because they only have to get they can get electronic signatures and not have to do any groundwork, but I have to do all the groundwork to get on the ballot. How fair is that? It's not, and it's garbage, and it needs to be taken care of. So my point there is we either need to have them remove that, which they're not going to do, or allow the other parties to have the same privilege.
But they're reducing it to 10,000. That don't really apply statewide offices. So why are you?
You want me to pull up the thing I'm talking about?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this is where it gets sticky. Statewide was already known this way, but now we have this problem. So if you see that alternate petition page right here, I don't know if you see that. Can you see that, Brian?
No, keep going. Click on. I see it there.
It says alternate petition page permits a qualified petition signer to sign a petition for a Democratic candidate for the House of Delegates while not being present at the petition circulator, and then return it by mail or electronically, 2021 use only. So basically, that allows these people to basically go on here and allow them to fill.
Go back up. It says House of Delegates. Is that a primary? Yeah.
Yes.
So what right now it is to be put onto the primary. Now, granted, I understand what you're saying because they're using the taxpayers' money to hold their primary, which is BS.
Well, it
But
doesn't
that
really matter if they're allowing them to do that to get on the ballot. They should give the Libertarians the right to be
did
on.
they did so, but correct. So you're going to say let the Libertarians have the ability to collect signatures online,
This way.
but
Yeah,
still they're allowing 125. They still got to get 120.
125. But yeah, here's the thing: they just got to put the names there, sign it, and then send this back either via email or via mail, or give it back to the person that the candidate, and they send it in. It's
Right.
only once. It's one sided. It's easy. I mean, how fair is that to the Libertarians that are going to
Well,
run?
that's how fair is it to any party? I mean,
Exactly.
if they've set it
So
up that way.
I think, as a whole, and it's in discussion, I can tell you that right now with the party, to get us the same rights. The only reason the Republicans don't have this is they're doing it as a convention. Um,
But not every House of Delegates will be done as a convention. I don't imagine, would it?
the Republicans, everything's going to be done as a convention.
Hmm.
So there's my problem. That's my thought process. You know how easy this would be for me? I could email this link to every single person I know in my district personally, and they just had to fill it out and send it over to me, and I could send it in, and I'd have 125 signatures like that.
Right.
And instead, I'm doing it the hard way. But
But
you know
don't
what?
you, but the problem and look, we play by the rules that
That's the
they
thing. We
set
do.
up. And I understand we've got to play by their rules. It's just like taking government. You can donate 3% of your taxes to that fund, and it goes to the federal government, and then the government gives whoever wants to run for president, if they're a major party, that amount. But then they can't collect no other funds,
Right.
from my understanding. Um, I understand that, but I think one thing that, like I said earlier today, one that we should be focusing on, the Virginia Democrats are continuing to push bad laws. And if this is setting people, look, this past 2020 election, a lot of people said some wonky things went on about it. And instead of addressing it, the media, the Democrats, or with the Republicans in 2016, instead of addressing it, they just say, quit belly aching. You lost the election. Go home. We need to be doing things to make sure that we feel confident that our elections are safe and secure and your vote is counted.
So
We've
this
got.
map,
Go
this
ahead.
map goes yellow is where you're getting a challenge from a third party.
Okay.
Only. Okay, so you got 3 districts here, which is District 70, and we go into there, and we got Hawkins. That's our buddy up in near Richmond
Yep. Mm-hmm.
running. You go down here, you could probably figure out who this is, Andrew Rose,
Okay.
and of course this district. You'll see the handsome face of the person that's on right here. That's on this podcast currently.
Mm-hmm.
There's 5 places contested by other non-major parties. So
What about the other individuals that are seeking the nomination?
let me go back into that. I can try to do that. Let's see. This is Charles West, 91. I don't know who this Nicholas Alejo is, so I'm going to click on 32 and find out. He's running as an independent, so I don't even know who that guy is. Obviously, me, Andrew Rose, me.
So the other,
Or
so the other individuals have, like Joe Pascal, have not filed the paperwork.
obviously haven't filed the paperwork yet because it would be on VPAP if they did.
Okay.
That's how they get this. That's how they get the information.
Okay.
2 of us will take on Republicans. 2 will take on Democrats at this point.
Okay.
So I mean that's a good thing. I mean that's why I'm saying if you're going to be fair to everybody.
No, and I do think we need to make it as easy as possible, I think, to have individuals be able to get onto the ballot. And because as Bill Redpath once said, when we were up there during lobby day in 2012, I remember he was talking about lowering the signatures from 10,000 down. And the individual was like, well, we don't care. If it's only a statewide office, that's all they got to worry about. We can lower the number for if they're running for president because they've got to worry about the entire nation. Yep. And he wanted so for Virginia governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, or U.S. Senate, they had to still continue to get 10,000 signatures.
There's a big push now in the state, obviously, to hold these conventions because right now I'm the only Libertarian nominee for this House of Delegates in when it comes to actual nominees that are nominated and okayed by the party based on our area.
Right.
To do that. I think the next one's going to do it is Mr. Hawkins in Richmond. I think he's the next one in line that I think is going to have his. But there's a big push to these conventions to happen because they need to happen. If you're going to run, they need to happen. I know other things, people like Michael Bartley is supposed to be running too. So, I mean, there's people that have not put their paperwork obviously in yet. But there was advantages of me doing it. And obviously, the advantages are coming out. I've gotten pretty decent amount of donations to start with. I've got a big jump start, and people know who I am in my district. A lot of people do, and a lot more people are going to know. It's the faster I can get these signatures in, the quicker I can start doing other things like we've always discussed, Brian.
Right. But once again,
work on the real campaign and doing things out there. So and I'm looking, and it looks like there is going to be places, things like little car shows and stuff that I'm going to try to squeeze my way into to see if I can collect signatures there in the next upcoming month. Obviously, there's a fire department in the area of Bedford that is going to allow me to sign. A lot of people want to sign my petition there, so I'm almost going to have 25 guaranteed there that are legit because you have to be legit to be on the fire department. They have to have their records have to be clean. You have to have straight and narrow. So if you're voting, these are the people that would definitely have their voting address right because the fire department looks into your background. So,
well, they might not be registered to vote though. So.
Almost everybody that I know in that department is registered to vote and registered to vote at their house.
As much as I would love to believe that every fireman and policeman and everything like that, or anyone that speaks that says that I'm registered to vote, God knows I've went to plenty of people who signed the ballot and have said and who told me that they were guaranteed registered to vote, and then they were not registered to vote. But that's a whole other story. The
validity of that department's people will be I'll at least get 25 certified signatures out of that.
And that's good. I mean, look, once again, it's 125 signatures, and
not terrible to get.
I think anyone. I mean, Caesar did it for the most part. I mean, I think I provided him with 30 signatures, maybe less. I'm not certain when he ran for city council. So if you really want to get onto the ballot, you should be able to go out and get the 125 signatures through your family and friends, and not really have to be doing a lot of. Look, if you're running for 1,000 signatures, have to get onto the House of Delegates. We might have another discussion going on, but even that, Will Hammer, when he ran in 2014, he did an excellent job. I mean, he was collecting signatures. I mean, he's a very.
There's one thing about 2014 and now that are different, which is the pandemic situation. It's just
true, and I do understand that.
Even though you're right, I mean, let's look at the numbers. The numbers are going down. I've read reports that herd immunity may be April or May.
But see, the problem we've had so long. When we had President Trump, we had a lot of individuals who were saying herd immunity would not work. We had people that were making up lies and things of that nature. So you don't know what's true and what's not true. And that's what that still bothers me, that we took a pandemic and we turned it and we politicized it, where now no one trusts anybody or anything. And
the thing is, the people that got it versus, and the amount of people now that have the vaccine, if those numbers equal that percentage, we'll be in a much better place. By next year, we might not even be talking about the numbers might not even be posted daily anymore. I really think, and maybe I'm hopeful by summer that we're going to be looking at or fall latest. We're looking at a much less strict.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I think it's going to be less strict because you can't keep living your life like this. You're fighting an invisible enemy that no one's been able to sell me on. It's like saying, all right, well, it's flu season. Let's not go outside. Look, you put the mask on, wash your hands, eat right, and you'll be fine.
One thing we learned.
As much as I don't want to see anyone die, and I'm not sitting here saying that it's bad, it don't have any side effects. What's the only option? Because once you open your windows and go outside into the real world, you have the potential. You have potential to get hit by a car. So should I not drive?
One thing we learned.
So yeah,
actually, in an open discussion, we were I brung our podcast up. We're talking about suicides and it's people that are suicidal based on the fact that they're locked up in their houses and stuff, and they're getting depressed. And I made a mention. I said, we fully went with our podcasts, and I said what it was, Maximum Libertarian, into this because there is so much truth behind it. Mental health is important, and let me tell you, we have a lot of people with a lot of mental health issues right now, and we have to move on. It's like, I'm finally seeing that the Trump signs are coming down in a lot of places, which is, I've seen so many, Trump signs stayed up for so long after the election. People are finally taking them down, which means I guess they finally realize that it ain't nothing going to change it. Oh, it's going to change, it's going to change, it's going to change. One thing that upsets me is seeing the Capitol the way it is right now. It looks like it's an army base around the Capitol, and you can't get near the Capitol because they have it fenced in still. That's not good either. That's a bad signal to anybody in this country that, there's just so many weird things. And you got the Ted Cruz situation going to Mexico during an ice storm.
But you have to ask yourself, what was Ted Cruz going to do? He's a U.S. senator. Was the U.S. Senate going to pass a relief bill that he could vote on?
Yeah, where is it? That's the other thing. Where's the bill that they were supposed to pass?
If Governor Abbott wanted to do something, him and any other of the state officials are the only ones that can make any adjustments to this whole nonsense.
And then they want to Cuomo, which for what he did with the nursing homes, and you got people in his own political party going against him.
Right. In the end of the day, Cuomo did worse than Ted Cruz.
Oh, much worse.
On that side, I mean, there's probably things that Ted Cruz has done that we can criticize. I know there is, but that being but the topic is, if you have the Cuomo killing people by putting the COVID patients into the nursing home and not taking responsibility for, or Ted Cruz, who has no ability to really do anything besides sitting at home, going to Mexico. Look, it's not a good photo op. It wasn't a good photo op on his behalf, but
no, because it looks like he's moving his constituents to get away.
So in reality, his worst thing was just making a bad decision on when to go, and him saying, "Well, my kids wanted to go." That's not. He should have sent his wife and kids, and he should have stayed.
Right.
That's what I would have probably have done. That way he would have still had that photo, that optics, because anything that you can do is going to be, if they don't like you, will be shined. And then they will just say, oh, look how bad he is, how stupid he is, or whatever. Let's get off. Going back here real quick. Virginia Democrats had advanced changes to the voting, absentee voting. And there's a couple of things in here that I do like, and I don't have an issue with. You can speak on this a little bit if you want. If you look here, the delegate from Henrico calls for the registrars to finish processing mail-in absentee ballots at noon on election day rather than waiting until after the polls close at 7 p.m. I think that's a terrific thing.
That's an amazing idea.
Yeah, it says the change would help avoid the situation that occurred in Virginia where absentee ballots weren't reported until late on election night, causing elections to see swing in favor of Democrats who garnered many absentee ballots. So in turn, I think that's a good idea. Go ahead.
I absolutely agree with that. I think that takes away any backroom dealings that could happen. I think they should go right to the registrar. They shouldn't go to the individual areas. They should go right to the registrars. They have to be there by noon, and if they're not there by noon, you don't be counted. And that way, the registrar's office is the only one that's handling these, not any of the election officials in the outside areas, which could, if they wanted to, influence the election.
But you want me to tell you something else, and I would like to have a discussion with probably Josh or someone who has some more knowledge about the registrar's office. But I think you should almost, like, if you're voting early, why not each week show the percentage of Joe Biden has this, Donald Trump has this, Joe Jorgensen has this. If you really want people to come out, if they see that Joe Jorgensen or whoever might be winning, they might the loser might the losing team at that point might come out in more of a, like, we've got to get out there to make sure we vote.
Exactly.
I don't know if that would make sense, but I think you could have a discussion about it. I'm not married to that idea, but let's go down here. Another temporary change from the November election that they're making permanent is to provide ballot drop-off boxes. But now here's where I have an issue. If the voter makes a mistake that would stop their ballot from being counted, election officials would have to let them know and give them the chance to fix it. Mail-in ballots would also require prepaid postage. Prepaid postage, I don't have an issue with. I
do have an issue with the other part. I think if you don't have to fill out a ballot, then you shouldn't be voting absentee.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons that that's something that I don't like. Because let's say if I go in there on election day, or is someone going to stand there to make sure that my ballot was filled out? I don't know. Does the machine count it? Like, would he kick it back if it was filled out wrong?
Yes, it will kick it back. I've worked them, so I know. Mm-hmm. It kicks if you leave one of them open, it'll actually show up on the screen. It says missing. Would you like to still cast?
Okay.
Now, if it's got like double, it'll spit it back out and said invalid ballot. So.
Okay. Well, then, if that's the case, then maybe.
But
go ahead.
That's called a spoiled ballot, by the way.
Huh?
Terminology is called a spoiled ballot. You would get a new ballot to fill out, and then we would take that and put it in a. Because I've done this. I've been an election official. We take it and put it in the soil. It'll be in the soiled list, and then at the end of the night, we have to still account for those ballots because we have to equal the total that was in the package and all that. So everything has to add up at the end of the night, or it's a very long night. We've had a long night because one or two of them were spoiled, and they forgot that they had a spoiled thing in another envelope. So yeah, and you'll be searching forever for it if you don't remember what you did with the spoiled. They go into a separate envelope. But it's very easy. It's very easy when you're counting it after a hectic election to forget that you have that actual folder sitting in your package that you get that has spoiled ballots in it, and then.
Okay, so they do have a place. So in turn, I think you could make. If the voter makes a mistake, stop the ballot from being counted, that could stop. I could see them letting them know to give them a chance to fix it. All right, so that honestly, but at that point, I think they might have to show up. It's not mailed out, because
maybe they should make it a rule a week before election. If it's an errored ballot, it doesn't count. I mean, that way you're not killing the system.
Because if you're not looking at, or I guess I would assume that they would start counting them when they get them, like the absentee. Well, the
registrar's office will grab them. They'll take them out of their packages, and the registrar's
they'll inspect them. Okay.
Yeah, with cameras on them and everything else, so it's valid that what they're doing. We'll do it right in front of there, and if it spits back out, it'll give a message too that's in that computer chip that says invalid ballot or a spoiled ballot. So when the printout comes at the end of the night, we know there's spoils.
Right. Let's see. Of course, the bill would require a ballot marking tool with screen reader assistant technology to be made available for absentee voters with a print disability. Let's see. Republicans are constantly voting against it. Some argue that the drop box could lead to fraud or accusations of fraud, despite the lack of evidence.
Here's the thing there. Put it where there's a computer, where there's a camera system, and there's evidence, okay? If somebody's dumb enough to break into one of those, they're going to do a lot of jail time. So,
well, why wouldn't you have a drop box at the elector's office right outside, so you can just like drive up like when you go to the post office?
Correct. The only one has the keys to that are the.
Well, then you'd have the camera on it, so if you see someone messing with it, then you would know exactly what's going on.
Exactly.
Let's see. And then almost, so that's what, and then you would even put, how ATMs have cameras on it.
Yep.
So you could have a camera. I mean, to me, I don't have no issue like being able to the no excuse absentee ballot. Like, because if we work the poll and I want to vote early, I'd rather be at the precinct instead of getting in line so I can start handing out stuff. I mean, I know they make election day. You don't want to have because you did see a lot of people vote early before the debates, and then they were looking up, can I change my vote? So in turn,
I don't mind early voting. I don't mind early voting at all. I think it helps the system when it comes to, but once you cast that vote, it's final.
But the thing is, what I would like to see done, though, is, let's see, is there anything else? So they both passed the state senate and party line votes. Okay. Oh, now this one here is, let's see, right here. The state senate also advanced legislation from the delegate in Henrico that permits electoral boards to offer absentee voting on Sundays. That's fine. But this guy right here, Delegate Lopez from Arlington, this allows people 16 and older to pre-register to vote. I don't understand what exactly they're pre-registering to vote for. Sorry about that, my friend.
Well, what's going to hurt? Pre-registration to vote. You can pre-register to vote, but you still can't vote till you're 18. So what's the point?
I don't know. I feel that why do you need a pre-register to vote when you're 16? 2 years before you can even vote.
I don't think you should. And here's why.
I think there's a lot of people that are going to be.
There could be a lot of corruption in that.
I think so, and I think this is just we're just like trying to.
Okay, all these 16-year-olds, if it's in a party that doesn't like it, they'll go, okay, they're 18 now. They'll change it in the system. 18.
Well, you could get that, but it's not a fear. It's just I don't agree with allowing 16-year-olds to vote. 16-year-old kid who's in high school, and I'm going to have a better argument, but a high school kid getting to decide the fate of the nation or the state doesn't compute to me.
They're not old enough to do anything yet. I mean, they're not even.
They have zero skin in the game. I know one of the complaints I've had with Caesar once, and not that that's a big of a deal, but we were just batting ideas, and we were talking about things.
Like I said, the biggest thing was.
And I do think, and I get the concept of people we put into the elected office do make decisions, so it could harm us, and if it's environmental, economic, whatever the case might be. But the problem that you have right now, you have this indoctrination here in. We have indoctrination at colleges and public school system that, in turn, instead of being told, hey, you better look at all your options, they're going to be sitting there saying, I'm a socialist and you need to make sure that that my paycheck is, you got to vote for this guy because he's going to give me a pay raise. But they're not going to say it that route. They'll say, well, we need to make sure that the schools are funded so you children are educated properly and things of that nature.
We know
what's that?
We go into school problems all day long and the stupid bull crap they're trying to do with the Board of Elections that Terry Austin put up for that. You have to be one of the 5 or 6 people that would be appointed, which is even worse, not elected. That's is my first problem with it. But you would have to be in the government to be one of them. Has to be in the government. One has to be in special education. One has to be K through 12. One has to be a college professor. Like, who decides that? Why should it be that way? I mean, what does government official have to do with school?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a parent's choice. I think it should be elected. And I don't think there should be any kind of prerequisites to be on the board of election. Quite frankly, you know, my thought process on with that is, you know, the smaller the board of elections, the better. And board of education, and this actually no board of education really would be prime. Let the parents take care of their children. Let the government, as small as we can get it, dictate how much funding goes to the schools.
Right. But yeah, but I think really what in the end of the day, the when I titled this video, Virginia's Democrats prove that they can write bad laws too. I really do think what happens a lot of times is individuals rush into things and they don't think anything through. Yep. And that's why I even look at this when they start saying, all right, we're going to make this permanent, such as ballot boxes, whatever the absentee vote is, how you collect signatures. I have issues with people not seeing. I don't like the idea of signing a petition online because that if I know someone's last four of their PIN number, then I'm going to be filling it out on behalf of my mom or whatever. I think sometimes you filling out, signing a petition, and then they actually sign it, but you're standing there with them or something to that nature. I've seen that done before, but that's one thing because they know exactly what's going on. But if I know your last four, I think you might be setting yourself up for
corruption.
For corruption, yeah, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. You know, but once again, I think what happens is Virginia Democrats or Republicans, they'll rush in. They don't think about the issues. They just, how do we stay in power? And then they rush in, they do something, and then corruption. Once again, 2020, people were hollering fraud. They were hollering fraud. And instead of trying to fix the situation or look at it and go, all right, this is why it's not fraud, and actually prove it, you know, you would have MSNBC, the mainstream media, and whoever else, they would just sit there and go, shut up. It's your guy lost the end. But if you could actually prove fact, but when you're actually pushing things that should make it seem like it might be corruption here, I'm just telling you, you better do some work, and you better. That's why I'm saying when I talked about this bill, and I made a comment on the Facebook page, and I'll stand by it, is look at it. Is there stuff there that you can use to, if it became permanent, you could use it to make sure that you can challenge them, use it to run against them. Because I think it's just good. I think they do knee-jerk reactions like typical government officials.
Yep, absolutely.
Look, when I was in the military, we had the guys fall asleep on watch. And instead of just punishing him, they punished everybody on the base.
Also known as blowback.
Right. And so in turn, now we're all having to stand different watch hours because this one guy fell asleep. So in turn, that means we're not getting as much sleep. We're not able to do as much work while we're on duty. It's horrible, man. But
blowback.
Yeah, man. So I guess we're at the 34 minute mark. I want to thank everybody for listening. Everything we've talked about is in the description below, so you can click on the stories that we spoke about. We want you also to please click the subscribe button. And what should they do?
Smash that like button.
Yes, smash that like button. Share the video. Hit the notification bell. And then go over to Twitter and follow us on Twitter at WeAreMaxLive. And also, what else do we got going on? Let me see. Keep on talking, Dean.
Yeah, so we have, like I said, we have a lot of things going on here, Libertarian-wise. I mean, let's just be honest. We have a good group of House delegate candidates that want to run this year. Hopefully, we can keep getting more. And, we'll go from there and hopefully can make some waves.
Oh, there's Dean's stuff right there.
Oh,
so you can go to DavisonForDelegate.com or Facebook at Davison for Delegate 2021. His Twitter is Davison4 DELEGA1. So please go there, follow him there, give him a little
donation, even if it's $1.
Yeah, no matter what the amount is, that's all that matters.
For your
So
time.
yeah, please sign up to his get any type of information right there, so you can learn more about Dean and his positions. So I guess that's about it. So do you have anything else, Dean?
No, I just keep enjoy your gas prices continue to rise because Biden's hurting us bad.
Well, Mr. Biden's he's going to be hurting us a lot of other ways too. So until next time, my friends, I'm Brian.
I'm Dean.
And we will see you later. See ya.
Move it up, baby.